Hey guys, how you doing? Ron Zanette here. Well, today I've got a review for you of some products made by Deepcool. I've got a 140 millimeter PWM fan and a 120 millimeter PWM fan, along with a fan hub. So let's take a closer look at each of them, and then we'll actually set them up and use them. And for the fans, we'll take a listen and check them out on a radiator and a water cooling setup, and see how well they work. So let's take a closer look. First up, let's take a look at the packaging. I've got the UF120 from Deepcool, listed as a case fan with D-vibration TPE cover. That TPE stands for thermoplastic elastomer. And we have listed on the side of the package 2-ball bearing, D-vibration, super silent, and PWM control. Taking a look at the side, nothing on either the sides or the bottom, and on the back, again, it identifies the patented D-vibration TPE cover, and talks about the surface touch and the strong structure. And we're actually going to take a look at that right now. Let's see what we got inside the package. In the package, in addition to the fan, we get the installation guide. We have 4, and they call these anti-vibration buckles. Basically, they're the rubber screws to dampen any vibrations from the fan through to your case. You also have this is a 12-volt power connector. You connect directly from your power supply to your fan, and this provides 12 volts, so the fan will run at the highest speed. And then this adapter is an adapter that provides 7 volts. This is a 7-volt adapter. Again, you connect it to your power, and it also has a pass-through, and then you tap right onto your fan right there, and you'll have it running at 7 volts for even less noise that would normally be done when you have it at full 12 volts. Let's take a closer look now at the fan. Now, the UF120 is made of a strong plastic frame. It is solid, very solid and sturdy. It's all one molded frame, and the frame is coated with a thermoplastic elastomer, so it is very durable, feels nice to the touch, and also helps in the anti-vibration properties of this fan. As you can see, the fan blades are blue, as is the inside frame cylinder around where the fan blades mount, and also on the back where the motor mounts, we have the mounts blue and the Deepcool logo. And we also have now the wiring is all black, which is great. You don't see any multicolor sticking out of there. And the power cord is sleeved. So the fan cord is sleeved, and I measured this, the length of this is about 17 inches long, or around 430 millimeters. So nice long fan cable to connect up wherever you need to in your case. And here we have the Deepcool UF140. Again, the packaging is very similar to the 120. Aside from the model number, it still references that it is a case fan, 2-ball bearing design, the D-vibration, super silent, and PWM control. On the rest of the packaging, nothing much else. And the back, basically, again, just highlighting the D-vibration TPE cover and the model number. So the contents of the UF140 package, aside from the fan itself, is identical to that of the UF120. We have the installation guide, the anti-vibration mounts or rubber screws, the 12-volt DC adapter, and the 7-volt DC adapter. Now let's take a close-up look at the fan itself. The UF140 construction is again the same as the 120, with a very strong plastic frame and the TPE coating, the thermoplastic elastomer coating on it. It is the 9-blade design, again blue with the silver core and the blue ring on the inside of the frame. On the other side of the fan, we have the Deepcool logo on the motor mount, and the blue frame for the motor mount is also there, along with the dark colored power wires coming out. And again, the length of this is 430 millimeters, about 17 inches long, and it is sleeved very well with heat shrink right up to the ends and where it goes into the fan up to the 4-pin fan adapter. And the other item we received from Deep Cool is a fan hub. So it's a 4-fan hub, and let's take a look real quick on the packaging. Really the only thing that's to note on the specifications is the overall dimension, 74 by 20.5 by 21 millimeters, and the weight 22 grams. Now let's take a look at the fan hub itself. Now inside the package with the fan hub, we get an installation guide, a warranty card, a quality certificate citing that it passed inspection, and we also receive a sheet of double-sided tape and a tie wrap. Now let's take a closer look at the fan hub itself. Now the fan hub is made of solid molded plastic housing. Inside you should see here 4 PWM fan headers on a PCB, and you'll see the first one to the left is white, and that is because that is the only one that would provide an RPM reading. So any fan that you have plugged into that would be the one representing any of the fans plugged into this hub. And then you have the other 3. Again, this is a 4-pin PWM connector set up in here, but you can easily connect 3-pin fans to it. The fan, the length of the cable coming out is also 17 inches long, or about 430 millimeters. And we have on the bottom here, they put a nice protective coating on it, and that's really nice because one of the ways to mount this is with some double-sided tape, which they provide. So this has got protective coating, of course, on either side of the tape. So what you would do is, peel that off, but you must have a clean surface for these things, for any of this adhesive to work. So by peeling this off of the base, you have it protected, didn't get any dirt or any oils on it, and then you apply your tape to it and then mount it in your case wherever you need to. Obviously, alternately, you could use Velcro and do the exact same thing, so it's much easier to mount and unmount, and that's the way I would probably use it. And alternately, the other way to mount it is using this tie wrap, and I don't know if you see it, but right in the middle there is there is a hole right here through the middle, so you would put your tie wrap through and secure it to whatever point in your case that you would like to connect it to. So that's pretty straightforward. Just slide it through there, wrap it around your post or your frame, and secure it up in a position that works best for where your fans are going to join at this hub. Now that we had a close-up look at the fan hub and the fans, the next thing to do is to connect them, and let's listen to them, see how loud they actually are. And then we're actually going to test them in a water cooling loop setup. Now first up, we have the fan hub with 4 fans connected. I actually have 2 of the UF120s and 2 of the UF140s connected. And the fan hub is also connected to fan port 1 on that controller, and it's reading 1300 RPM, which is the 120 UF120s in the first port of the fan hub, which actually gives you the reading. So that fan is running at just a little bit more than 10% under the top rated speed of the fan, which is 1500. And now let's switch over to the 140, which is rated at 1300, and let's see what that gets. Alright, so I swapped the UF120 from the first spot with the UF140, which is now in the first position in the fan hub. And the RPMs for the fan is 1200, so that's a little bit better than 10% delta from the 1300 rated fan speed. So here we have all 4 fans being controlled through the fan hub from Deep Cool. Here I have 2 of the UF120 Deep Cool fans mounted on an XSPC AX240 radiator. What I'm going to do now is put the microphone on top of the radiator, and we'll have a listen to these fans. They're currently mounted in a push configuration. Okay, now we're about ready to get started testing the UF120. Again, they are on an XSPC AX240 radiator. All right, in order to stress the system and see how well these fans cool, what we're going to do is we're going to stress it using OCCT version 4.4.0. And what we're going to do is we're going to run two overclocks on it. Right now we have one running. It's the 4.3 overclock, and the core voltage on the system is 1.389 with a multiplier of 43 at a bus speed of 100. That gets us to 4.3 overclock. And then what we're going to do is over here on the temperature monitor, we're going to record, of course, the idle temps, and then we're going to record the max temps at the end of the testing. And we're going to do that 3 times. And so for each set of values, we'll go ahead and subtract that from the ambient temperature, and that'll get us our delta T. In between each of the 30-minute runs, we're going to cool the system down for about 15 minutes each. And then we're all done with this, we're going to rerun it again at a 4.6 overclock with a higher voltage setting. And I'll show you all of this in a table at the end of the video so that you can see the summary of all the results. I actually have the results for you here right now. You can see that underneath a 4.3 overclock with 1.41 volts, at idle we had a 5.7 degree delta, and under load we had a 44 degree delta. At the 4.6 overclock using 1.55 volts, we had under idle a 6.2 degree delta T and a 57.8 delta T under load. Now that test bed is an i7 990X on an Asus Rampage 3 Black Edition motherboard with some Corsair Dominator GT RAM, and the OS disk is an OCZ 120 gigabyte hard SSD with a couple of GTX Titans for video, although they don't really make a difference for the testing. So well, this is how the fans did on the test. So now let's take a look at the UF140 and listen to it. Now we're going to have a listen to the UF140. I'll place the microphone right next to the fan. Now here we have the Deep Cool UF140, and I had mentioned earlier that I was going to put them on a radiator to see how well they perform cooling in a water cooling loop. One of the things that I didn't realize was that if you notice, the mounts on this fan here are basically 120 mounts. I actually have mounted a UF140 in a 120 millimeter space in this case. Now this case does have positions for a 140. But for those of you who are in situations when you want to have better, quieter cooling and you only have a 120 millimeter fan spot, this fan does the job. So and obviously you do have some of the the diameter of the 140 fan does stick out farther than what a normal 120 frame would be. It would be right at this point, so you do have to have some of that space available, and I'll show you inside the case how this particular fan mounts. As you can see in this space here, in this case, we have no problems mounting this fan in the 120 millimeter space. As long as you have a few millimeters on either side, which in most cases you will have, you can get this fan installed in there to provide a much quieter and good airflow in your case, instead of having to worry about going to some kind of shroud or an adapter. You can actually just mount this right in that spot. So the fact that you can mount this 140 millimeter fan in a 120 space without requiring any kind of adapter is a really great feature. I really I like that. But from a water cooling aspect, since the mounts are 120s, you could only fit this on a 120 or a 240 millimeter radiator, but the problem is you will not be able to mount any side by side because of the spacing and the outdent of the fan and the blades. So and then conversely, on a 280 millimeter rad or a 140, you won't be able to mount it on there either because these are 120 fan mounts. So again, you would need an adapter. So again, these fans are designed for cases, and I was hoping to be able to test them on a rad, but that won't be possible. But I got to tell you, the fact that you can mount them in a 120 millimeter space and have the quiet and the cooling that this fan provides, that's a really nice design, nice feature. And the anti-vibration mounts for it, along with the rubber coating, help keep it quiet from transmitting any vibrations through your case. All right, so let's wrap up the review. So there you go. We had a close look at the Deepcool fan hub, the UF120 and UF140 fans. Now overall, these are great looking products. I really like the fan hub. Actually, you know, being able to support 3-pin and 4-pin, it's a nice little sleek design and compact, and it looks good. I'm actually going to use that in one of my current builds right now. I'll put a link up for that, but you know, I really like that fan hub and I recommend it. The UF120 fan, we were able to get a listen to that, and also I put it on those radiators. Now again, none of these fans are advertised as you know, radiator or heat sink fans. They are for case fans, but I thought a good test would be to actually give them a shot on water cooling setup, and you saw them run on 240 rad, and they performed okay. Now at a mild overclock, I think they're great. I think you could use them easily for mild overclocks, but for heavy duty performance, they're not, you know, they're not designed for that, and I don't think they don't carry the static pressure you need for a heavy overclock with a lot of voltage, which you know, you saw on the table when I put 1.55 volts on that processor at the 4.6 overclock. You know, there was quite a wide gap in delta T. So, but bottom line is, you know, the UF120, you know, it looks great, build quality. The sleeving of the cable is great, and that it's a PWM fan is very good. So, you know, I recommend that, like I said, for, you know, any mild overclocks and a water cooling setup you want, but certainly as a case fan, that thing's going to provide some good airflow. Now, UF140 also is a case fan, and, you know, again, great construction, nice anti-vibration properties, sleeving of the cable is great, and 4-pin PWM, nice feature. I like that on that fan. The one thing that I really like, though, was that it mounts in a 120 fan spot. So some cases don't have the flexibility to put a 140 in it, and so you can actually mount this fan there. So I really like that in the design, and so it's got a unique little niche, I think, and I would recommend it for that. So overall, great product. I want to thank Deepcool for sponsoring these for me. One thing to note on these fans are also, they're made by Deepcool for Logisys, so you can find them on performance PCs, for example. They carry the Logisys brand of these fans. The UF120 is known as an SP120, but the UF140 is a UF140 model, again, made by Deepcool for Logisys. So if you're interested, please check them out. Again, great thanks to Deepcool for sponsoring these for me, and I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please comment and let everybody know that. So hopefully I'll have some more products from Deepcool that I'll be able to bring to you and review. So that's it, guys. I hope you did like. If you did like and favorite, and if you're so inclined, please subscribe. That's it from Ron's a Nut. Thanks for watching.